are starting to happen. Everything's happening. All right, what's up, Chuck? What's up, Alton? How's everybody doing today? It is Tuesday. It is, what day is it? March the 8th, 2022. And excited to be able to connect with everyone once again. I know last week was a wild, crazy, busy week for me doing a bunch of things, but today we're back. What's up, Alan? What's up, Mr. Mandalorian? What's up? Hope everybody's good. What's everybody up to? Yes, it's always a good day to be a trombone player. If you got a question, feel free to drop it in the comments. Use the question thing on Instagram. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to drop it in the comments, and I will see it here and bring it up on the screen, and we'll get into whatever it is that you all are thinking about, wondering about. How many cups are we on today of coffee? I don't know. Not enough. It's never enough coffee. What are you talking about, Alan? Mr. Mandalorian, you got a question? Feel free to type it in. Man, yeah, never enough coffee. That's for sure. I got some things coming up soon. I'm excited about. My new book is coming out in a couple of weeks. It's called Create, Connect, Repeat. This is it. It's a music business book, music business, music marketing, talking about all things about creating systems to kind of build a creative life and not just waiting around to see kind of what comes your way, but building something that's sustainable and using all the tools that are out here today to make those things possible. So hopefully you'll be able to pick it up. It comes out on April the 5th. And so that's coming up. Just before that, heading to SF Jazz with Anat Cohen coming up pretty soon. I was just getting some emails about that, so I'm excited to get going with that. The Tentet is back to play at SF Jazz 25th, 26th of March. So finally, after 2 years, things are happening. Been working on recording sessions, some new music. A lot of things are happening. New music for the Chamber Music America grant. Did I get my bag tags yet? No. Mine fell off. My platinum tags fell off my bag. I have one on my trombone case. No, that fell off too. Yeah, they all fall off, Elton. So don't get too excited because they won't stay on. They'll break. I've gone through a bunch of them. They snap off, but I still have the little, see, like this little thing. That's where the bag tag was. They break. They break in the overhead. You close the bin and it snaps right on the tag, or it lands on the tag and it breaks. They don't make them to last forever, man. But yeah, but we're talking about jazz, trombone, whatever you guys are interested in, whatever you guys are thinking about today. Happy to jump into any of those questions. What's going on here today? But yeah, I guess that's what's coming up. Oh, I'm going to be back at Dizzy's a couple times this summer, so that'll be good. Playing with Ryan Truesdell's Gil Evans project back at Dizzy's in May, and then my band is playing at Dizzy's in July. Some new music. This Chamber Music America grant music is finally coming alive, and we're gonna get together next week and rehearse that music and make sure that I don't need to make any more revisions. It's always a fun process to write it and then bring it to life and then realize how many things you need to change to actually make it any good. So here's a question. Congrats on the book. Does your new book have graphics, photos, data, charts, or it's mainly words? It's mainly words. Not a lot of charts, really. There's a couple of charts in the back, a couple of worksheets. But it's mostly about creating your own systems more so than it is about a bunch of charts or data analytics or something like that. It's about creating some systems that work for you and sustainable promotion for yourself, whether that's new records, new videos, projects, teaching, all of the above, all that stuff is kind of what goes into it, or kind of what is going to go into it, or what is happening in the book itself. So Sudoku puzzles? No Sudoku puzzles. Sorry. I can tell you what's in the back of the book. Well, let me tell you what's in the book. So there's like some sheets about coming up with a business plan, about generating revenue from your business plans, about like a budget for an album. I've never even done a Sudoku puzzle, to be honest. Doing that sort of math stuff, I know it's not really math, but numbers don't really resonate with me, except apparently they do in terms of like chord progressions. Huh? Hey Nick, about to become a band director. Congrats. Trying to get my jazz chops up playing wise so I can help my students with improvising. I have Real Books and iReal Pro. How should I go about practicing? Well, first of all, get rid of iReal Pro and get rid of the Real Books. You got to learn tunes from recordings, whether that's easy tunes or more difficult tunes. There's a method by Chris Azera called Jump Right In. It teaches like simple tunes that have like 1 to 5 to 1 type stuff. My nonprofit, the Institute for Creative Music, we focus on exactly this type of stuff. We have courses that we put out there and YouTube stuff that talk about learning jazz through an oral tradition, A-U-R-A-L, our oral tradition, not using a book, not using iReal Pro, not using the Real Easy book, any of that stuff, but actually learning songs and learning them by ear and not using music. So I would say that's what you should do. Learn some songs, figure out easy jazz tunes, blues, rhythm changes, tunes that go 1 to 5 to 1, tunes like So What that are like modal tunes, things that are easy to play, obviously, and finding like the range of the students. I don't know what grade, but it doesn't really matter because we do this with 8-year-old students, like 4th grade, all the way through high school, and teaching them just play. And because to me, that's the important part of playing jazz. You know, like playing in jazz band is one thing, and playing a style or playing big band charts, like that's fine. But to me, what's more interesting and the reason to play and study jazz is to get into that improviser mindset, or to get into that improvising mindset, you know, of like playing and with each other, and whether that's for the first time or for the millionth time, or whether they're advanced college students or beginning elementary students or anywhere in between, that magic of improvising, you know, is like so important. And so integrating it into every single thing that you do, even if you're pulling out, you know, a chart, a well-known Basie chart, anything, it could be an educational easy chart, teach them the melody by ear. Don't give them the music first. Teach them the melody. Learn there's some million songs in the Real Book. You know, figure out like some old New Orleans tunes, like Second Line, like Little Liza Jane, like So What is pretty easy. You know, like Sunny Moon for Two, like Bag's Groove, like Blues by Five, like Sandu's maybe a little harder. Even like I Got Rhythm is pretty easy. But yeah, there's plenty of places you can look these things up online. But if you go to the Institute for Creative Music, you can see we have a whole series of courses, and there's tunes and suggestions and things if you want to dig deeper into it, and find like a methodology. But yeah, I mean, just take whatever you were going to teach them and teach it to them by ear. So you learn the melody, you learn the root melody, you learn some, you play tunes that don't have too many notes to choose from. Focus on getting them creating, and then you can start to layer in more and more, and just have everybody improvise all together. And you know, you can play like 2-chord tunes, you know, like Do What You Wanna. That's like a New Orleans tune. You could move into some more functional harmony with something like When the Saints Go Marching In, or with what's that tune? Basin Street Blues is a little bit different. There's another tune, Bourbon Street Parade. Day do do day do do day do do dee ba do da da do da ba da da da. It's like 1 and 5 and 1 and 5. So there's a bunch. All right, I feel Bourbon Street Parade. Feel weird asking this. Do you have any tips for less spit during playing? How much is normal? I don't know. I think it depends. There's more spit the more that there's a difference in the temperature. So if you're warm and it's cold outside, there's going to be more spit. So, but if you're actually like spitting into your horn, it could be maybe problematic. But I don't know. Everybody has a different amount. Some people have to do their spit valve all the time, and some people not that much. Just depends. I don't think I would worry about it too much unless you're like actually physically spitting into the trombone. What's up, Lawson? Came in at a great time. Perfect question to jump in with. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much is normal. Thanks, Dylan. Enjoy. Anyway, I don't know. I don't think there is a normal amount of spit. People have different amounts. And this is really gross, but when I was in middle school or elementary school, I don't remember, but my best friend, he was a bass trombone player, and he would collect his spit in a bottle. It was super gross. I don't remember what the impetus was for this activity, but he did, and it was gross. And he would just like keep bottles of it like in his practice room. Like it was so. I mean, yeah, like you say, like, oh yeah, it's just condensation, but it's also like a little bit of spit because it's not clear. You know, it's kind of gross. And your horn has got nasty crap inside of it. At least most people's, you know, unless you just had it cleaned. What's up, DJ? The people want to know, what is the story behind the title, The Ramp? Yeah, bottles. Yeah, gross, right? The Ramp. So, The Ramp, if you don't know, is a tune off of my first record. What's up, Fritz? It's on the Exposition. I don't know. I don't have a copy of it around here. It's up on the top shelf. Exposition was, the first record, and it came out in 2013. And that would the Ramp was one tune on here that's in 5/4, and I had written it a couple years before. So I recorded in 2012 when I was right before I graduated from grad school. We recorded that first record, and it had been written several years before then about. It was just there was multiple ramps in my life, but going into my high school where the band room was, there was a giant ramp. And I don't know exactly. It just reminded me. Something about the tune reminded me. Sorry, I'll get to these comments over here in a second. Matthew, what's up, Matthew? So it was kind of about that, I guess. It's not actually that great of a story, which is why I don't usually share it. But there you go. It's kind of a boring story. But it just kind of reminded me of a ramp because of the E-flat section. It's just kind of everything in that tune is kind of ascending, so that became it. I've always had a problem with good titles, so you can see that one is unremarkable, an unremarkable story. So maybe just invent your own, DJ. Invent your own invent your own story about what that ramp could have been. Everyone's just like, oh, is it about this ramp? Like, or is it about that ramp? I'm like, no, not really. But so the reason he's asking about this tune, DJ, is because I started a big band project, doing some soloing in front of a big band. We did a recital at UNT back in January, and DJ arranged that tune. So he arranged that, and now they've been playing it in big band here at school, and so they've been playing it, I guess. Maybe you performed it. I don't even really know. But anyway, so that's the ramp. Not that exciting of a story. I wish I could say it was more exciting. This is a silly question. Hope you're good, man. Matthew, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I forgot about that. The Institute for Creative Music, we're going back on the road finally. I talk about teaching by ear and all that stuff. That's exactly what we do. We're going back to Montana to do some stuff in May. I'm back to Missoula and Kalispell and a couple other places. I forget exactly where we're going, but that's coming up at the end of May. So that'll be fun with Caroline Davis and Matthew and great drummer Chris Teal, who we started the Institute for Creative Music together back in 2010 or 2011, something like that. We missed our 10-year anniversary because of COVID. It's all right. All right, moving on. They did perform it. What's up, Ben? What's up, Brandon? Thanks for stopping through. Okay, John has a question. What is one standard that has the most amount of / diversity of chords? If you wanted to learn the tune in as few keys as possible and hit all minor, major, diminished half chords. I mean, a tune like I mean, just All the Things You Are has a pretty great diversity. It has half diminished. It has fully diminished. It has fully diminished. It has minor and dominant and major. But there's not that many tunes that have all of them. But no tune has like all of them. I don't think there is one to do all of them at once. But All the Things You Are is a pretty good start because you have minor, minor, dominant, dominant, major. And then in that last A, there's a half diminished 2/5 into E major in the bridge, and then there's an augmented chord at the end of the bridge, and then you've got a fully diminished chord. And then that part, there's diminished. Tried and true. You could try something like a Bird Blues too, or like Confirmation. That's got half diminished 2/5s and regular 2/5s and kind of normal harmony, I would say, something like that. Or so that's Confirmation, or you could do a Bird Blues. But Confirmation will get you through more keys because the bridge goes to 4 and then it goes upper minor third. So if you do that, you'll get a bunch of keys. But you still got to take it through the keys. There's no tune that's going to like get you not through all the keys, you know. But definitely one like All the Things You Are gets through a lot of keys in a relatively short amount of time. That's for sure. And I think that's why it's had such longevity, staying power in terms of jazz education, because it does go through all of that pretty regularly. Not even pretty regularly, like it just does. It goes through a lot of keys pretty quickly. But anyway, hope that helps. If you're just joining us, hello, welcome. Feel free to drop in any questions. We're talking all things jazz, trombone. Not that anybody wants to talk about it, but I'll talk about music, business, and marketing. Pretty much no one cares, is what I've determined, except that everybody wants the results, but nobody wants to put in the time that it takes to have the results. But that's okay. I still think it's important anyway. Hence me writing a book about it. But let's see, what else is going on here? Yeah, I'm really just in this mode of like checking out this new music and getting things going there. I just was reminded of a great record this morning. I had a student come through and talk about this tune, Bernie's tune. You probably know Bernie's tune, but he didn't know about this version. It's one of my favorite versions, and I learned about it at Eastman because we were talking about Jerry Mulligan and talking about his arrangements. And there's a record called Meet the Jerry Mulligan Sextet. So it's 4 horns, bass, and drums, no piano, except Brookmeyer plays piano on some of it. But anyway, it's Bob Brookmeyer on valve trombone. And so we were talking about this version of Bernie's tune. But the record is called Meet the Jerry Mulligan Sextet. So if you're looking for a nice version of Bernie's tune, that's a good one. Meet the Jerry Mulligan Sextet. That's a fun one. And he plays so many great phrases, you know, like he plays long phrases that go, when I talk about like trying to play through the changes, so not playing like vertically, but playing horizontally and playing through the changes, like that's a great example. He develops his melodies, just great. I mean, Bob Brookmeyer definitely a little bit underappreciated, I think, in his improvisational acumen. He played with Clark Terry for a long time. You know, there's a lot of older tunes by him that people don't play, but people maybe know some of his later arrangements for the Mel Lewis Orchestra and all of that. But oh yeah, Matthew says Stella is a great tune for diverse chords. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, any tune that like goes through multiple keys, you know. Whoops, come on, iPad. Glissando Big Band, what's up? Any tune that goes through a lot of keys in like multiple keys inside of the form will get you more diversity, I suppose, of key centers, and you have to take it through less keys to play in all keys. Yeah, I guess there is no fully diminished chord in Stella. Yeah, you could just put one in there because technically, actually, Matthew, now that you bring it up, Barry Harris talks about this. The first chord of it is actually a diminished chord, not a half diminished 2/5. But that's actually fully diminished. So that would be in that case like B flat, this one. So you could practice your fully diminished, actually, but that's like tonic diminished. Like I played like an A triad over B flat, B da. That's anyway. Nobody plays it that way anymore. They play half diminished 2/5, but I don't know. You've unlocked the harmony nerd inside of me. But that's like a deep cut right there. Go to find the original from the original movie, and it's in G also, and so the first chord is G diminished. B da. Well, I'm singing in B flat now, but anyway, not that all the people watching here are really that interested in my pontification about the first chord of Stella being a fully diminished chord. But I only knew that because Barry Harris yelled at me one time. Well, he yelled at all of us at a master class at Juilliard. Because he knew that stuff. But I don't know who first switched it and made it into a 2/5 instead. This is irrelevant and super not interesting to listen to, I'm sure. I'm talking about fully diminished chords. Anyway, let's see. What did I miss here? I think the answer to Matthew's question is a none amount of crush is the preferred amount of crush. That question I didn't answer, but I'm good. I'm glad that some people on Instagram thought it was entertaining. That's good. So you start me on a little rant down a path, and I'll just keep on going until somebody tells me to shut up. Even I have done a master classes before trying to we get on something about some diminished chord or something. I'm like, oh, but wait. It's like, actually nobody cares about that. Jazz Circno, what's up? Thanks for coming through. Gustavo, hello. Jay Coop, what's up? People joining. Now it's a party in here. No, sorry, I'm not going to bring you on to chat. But if you do have a question, feel free to drop it into the question box or into the comment section here on Instagram. Yeah. Sorry. His question is, John's question, didn't Barry say diminished chords are the children of the two whole tone scales? The wrong amount of crush. There should be some amount of crush. Okay. Not whole tone scales. Whole tone scales have 0 diminished in them, but diminished scales or diminished whole tone scales. I think you're thinking of the right thing, John, but I think you've got the words mixed up. Because he talks about everything being diminished, related to the diminished, and there's like a whole kind of way of turning any dominant chord into diminished and thinking about everything as diminished. It could be, and there used to be like a lot more diminished that people would use as decoration, like even in like in older swing tunes, you might go like. Passing chords, instead of jumping all around, they'll be like all based on the diminished. So I played like 1 and then flat 3 instead of going to 6, and then 2 5, or you can play 1, and so instead of going to 6 you can go sharp 2 diminished. And so there's this relationship between those, and if you put the sharp 1 and then the flat 3 to diminish together, you end up with the octatonic scale, or the whole half diminished, half whole diminished. What is your approach to soloing on a ballad like Darn That Dream? Because Solo on ballads is my worst enemy, and especially during that dream in particular. Yeah, I mean, I think approaching a ballad solo is definitely different and definitely a skill that needs separate attention because it's not like soloing on a medium tune or an up tune because you're not playing only language, but you're playing melodic ideas that fit on the changes. So I like to think about, players that play in different ways but are great ballad players and think about that. So on trombone in particular, there's like players that are great like ballad melody players. There's guys that are great ballad soloists. There's guys that do both. And then on all instruments, like there's different ballad approaches. So I like to think about that, like having a totally different approach to playing ballads. So like Bill Evans, real gentle kind of ballad approach, right? Versus Coltrane, very active ballad approach. Versus Curtis Fuller, very much a melodic ballad approach. So you kind of finding a different approach to playing and then just really being attentive to playing the shape of the harmony. So when I'm talking about looking at the harmony and stripping it down to like, what is the shape of the tension and release within the form? So maybe that sounds kind of weird or foreign, but like, so when you look at all the chords in Darling That Dream, where do they lead to? Where's the apex? If you can use the melody to help you. Ba dee do da dee do do dee do da 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 bo dee do builds to there, and then it kind of chills. Bo dee da 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 do 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 dee 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 dee, right? And then it repeats. So you got to build harmonically, melodically, activity-wise. You're building tension to match on top of the activity of the harmony. So boo bee boo, you should be building interest. Boo dee doo, building interest. Boo doo dee doo 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 dee doo dee 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 dee, and then you got to wind it down. Doo dee dee doo 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 dee 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 doo dee doo dee dee boo doo dee da boo doo doo dee 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 boo doo doo dee 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 doo dee. Right, it comes to a close. So it's a A-B-A tune. So you build it. Like the arc of it is kind of like build up halfway, come back down, build up more, come back down to a close, and then build into the bridge. And the end of the bridge needs to kind of build it to another climax to bring it to that last A again. And that last A should have the biggest climax of the 4 sections in the chorus. So I like to think about it like that. Reflect the shape of the harmony, the tension and release shape of the harmony, and then from there thinking about musical events. So not thinking about chord changes, not thinking about scales, but musical events. What musical events do I want to create? Is that like a crescendo? That's one. Subito piano is another. Building a big crescendo with the band. A texture on your instrument rather than like scales, right? So high notes, low notes. Am I exploring the whole register, all the registers of my instrument? So things like that. That's how you play a ballad. You have to think about the connectivity, the memorable moments of the ballad, not just like lines. Yes, playing the right notes, quote unquote, is part of it, but like it's more about the tension and release. Playing the right notes is not tension. And then when you play the wrong notes, that's the tension. Are you going to play active, like train, kind of lots of notes, or one really strident note? There's all these different approaches. Just like a couple weeks ago, we were working on Infinize, that Wayne Shorter tune. So sorry, sometimes tune names like escape from my brain. Infinize, and that's like, the students have a really hard time with it because he leaves so much space. He's so patient in the way that Wayne Shorter, develops that tune and develops his solo over the tune. If you don't know it, check it out. He plays super soft too, and it's empty. It's great. It's a great ballad. And then the last thing I always tell students on a ballad is play pretty, because sometimes we forget that we got to play pretty. We play too intense or too loud. You just got to play pretty. You got to think about how, like, the reason to play a ballad is for contrast, right? So if you're playing a gig and you got all loud tunes, fast tunes, you need it to be chill. And you could have different kinds of ballads, right? There's like a walking ballad. There's like totally spaced out ballad. There's like a slow, really intense ballad. There's like, yeah, there's like a lot of different types of ballads. And I'm not talking about, I haven't mentioned them all, but there's a range of like, and it's just about the texture and like the musical activities that happen within that thing. There's like 12/8 ballad. There's like maybe a ballad like Georgia on My Mind where people play maybe like a more blues kind of 12/8 approach. There's a lot of different kinds of ballads. So at any rate, I know that was a lot of different stuff about playing a ballad, but you could tell that none of it, what's up Grace, what's up 88 key, none of it was about like play this scale, you know. And then a lot of times like people play Darn That Dream, they play it as a bossa, which is like super annoying to me. If you're gonna play a ballad in my estimation. Like if it's a ballad, a bossa ballad, you know, then that's cool too. But maybe it just needs to be pretty and chill. And like that's the vibe, is for it to be chill, you know. Jay Coop, are jam sessions inherently negative? No. Show offy hazy. No, they can be, but recently heard an opinion like this and wanted your take on it. I mean, it can be. It depends which one you go to. It depends where it is and who's running it. They can be a very positive experience, but they can also be a really negative experience. It really just depends. And I've been on both ends of it. I've done the hazing and then regretted it after. And I've seen it happen. I've been at very positive jam sessions too. So it really depends on who's running it. It's always been my opinion that like it's better to go to a friend's gig and sit in than just go to a jam session, because you could just be waiting around. But there's something about going to Smalls and waiting around till you can play and then playing that, like, you know, you don't get that anywhere else. So like it's definitely like there's good and bad, you know, and you don't have to show off when you play, you know, you can just play music. And in that situation, that sets you so much apart. Like, people can tell. So, like, if you were to go and everyone's just being whatever, and you go and you play music, you know, that's going to set you apart from a lot of the other people that they're going to hear in that situation, you know? So, I wouldn't be afraid to just play your personality, play you, do you, you know? But I wouldn't say that it's all yes or all no. Really depends on who's there, you know, and who's running it and who's playing too, obviously. But, you know, but also it's on you to not be a jerk on your end, you know. And I don't mean you, Jay, as in like I think you're being a jerk, but you as in any of us that go to a jam session, like don't go and play 150 choruses of the blues. Like go say something and get people interested in you and your musicianship, and then let it go, you know. Also, don't play tunes you don't know. So that means you got to know tunes. I see too many people try to like pull out the real book or pull out their iReal app and like try to read at the jam session. It's like, that's not what it's about. You got to develop your ear so you can hear your way through tunes. And that might be hard at first, but eventually it will happen. And then from there, you've got to just know a certain repertoire. And so it's going to be different everywhere you go. That's what I'm saying. Well, it depends, because there are certain tunes that people played when I was growing up in Rochester, and there's certain tunes in New York. There's like different cliques. And some people love to play, I don't know, like super obscure tunes and call them on you. Some people like to call Bud Powell, or they like to call monk tunes, or like, you know, there's all different little cliques. But people like to you know, show how hip they are by how deep their tune knowledge is, and like that's killing. Like, but mine only goes so far, you know. And there's a lot of people that know a lot more tunes than I do, but I probably know a lot more tunes than other people. So I personally fall somewhere in the middle probably, but you got to know tunes, because if you go up there and play on a tune that you don't know, that is not a good look. So just, you know, be aware of your approach, you know. What's up, West Wales Alexander? What's up, N Losos 32? Thanks for joining. As you can tell, it's our weekly Q&A, and we're talking a lot about harmony and jazz standards today, improvising over ballads, a couple things we've touched on today. But I got a couple more minutes, so if people want to throw in any more questions, happy to chat about those things. Oh, you can see if you're on YouTube, let's see if I can backwards, like you can see that this sticker here, right there on my case, that's the Institute for Creative Music. And we were talking before about using oral learning to, really get your students way ahead of the game in terms of improvisation. That's it. We had stickers at one point. I don't know where they went. I don't have any more. It's been 10 years. Crazy. Crazy. But at any rate, hope that helped, Jay. I think you should go to some sessions, and you got to get cut every once in a while. Keeps you humble. Because it's going to happen. It happens to me all the time. Plenty of people. All right. So I'll give people a few more minutes here to go ahead and drop in any questions that they have, things they want to chat about. But if you haven't yet, if you're on Instagram, I'll show you that right there. That's the new book, April 5th is coming out. And it's about music business. It's going to be really good for you, even though you don't want to do it. It's all stuff that's it's like eating your vegetables, You don't really want to do it, but it's like super, super important to building a career. If you just want to, a career that involves you building your own thing, but if you want to not do that, then I don't recommend that you venture down that path. But if it is something where you want to create your own opportunities, it's pretty essential. What's up, Omar? Basebone Kiz. Manuela. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping through. I'll be here for a couple more minutes answering questions, chatting about things. I'm in the process of trying to get back into making some more detailed lesson videos to post on YouTube. So if after you see this you have ideas of things that you feel like are not represented well on the internet, or that you want another take on, I'm going to be trying to get some of those ideas off the ground over the next couple of weeks. I always say that I'm going to try to get back into doing that, and then it always seems to slip my schedule. But I will be getting back into that for sure. All right. Well, it seems like here's a question. How was your time at Eastman? I'm a freshman in the program. I'm curious about how your experience was. Nice. Alexander, current freshman. Nice. Let's see. My time at Eastman. Well, my experience was good. I had a good experience. There's a lot of things that I had to do that I thought I didn't need to do at the time. So maybe you experienced some of that. But they ended up being super helpful. And some of those things include like oral skills class, piano class, those kind of things. Like, I just wish now that I had spent more time investing myself into those things at that time, because now I have a hard time finding extra time to go and fill in some of those holes. And it was never like a strength, to do like solfege, for example, or play Hanon things on the keyboard or things like that. But I wish I had more facility now. As a teacher now, I wish I had put more time into that. The thing that I did when I was at Eastman was like I lived on campus for the first year, and then I got off campus straight away because I was from Rochester. So I said I was living at my family, but I'm just a friend of mine, and I got an apartment. But we had a band, and I was starting to gig, and I kind of put all of my eggs in the non-school basket. And I don't think that I did a very good job of like really developing my network, because there was a lot of people that I don't really know that well. There's people, of course, that I do know well from Eastman, but there's plenty of other people that I should have. I wished that I would have gotten more involved in, but I was so, I guess, self-centered in a certain kind of way, where I was like, well, I want to do this and I want to do this. And, I started getting into that stuff. And then started booking tours with my band, which eventually became this Institute of Creative Music. And I was in this other brass band, this trombone rock band, and we were doing stuff. And I started writing music. I started writing music for my own groups and things like that while I was at Eastman. And I wish I had put in more time into developing my network there a little bit. And then, you know, I don't know. I was just busy all the time. Busy, just doing things, putting myself into motion. And I was teaching at some high schools in the area, and I had 12 students at one point, like all over the place, driving all over the place. And I just wish I had taken a little bit more time to like make more music with my peers. You know, if I could do anything again, I definitely would do that, or try to like sit in with my professors. I never did that. I never played with any of my professors really until like my last year there, or maybe I took a year off after school to work on grad school auditions, and that year I started playing with my professors a bit more. But I wish I had taken the opportunity to try to do that. Those are a couple things, man. Like I was just like, I was getting ahead of this myself, you know, too soon a little bit. Off-campus housing scandal. Oh man. Yeah, I guess it's. I don't think they'll care anymore. But yeah, man. I took one class like at the River campus. So Eastman is owned by the University of Rochester. When I started at Eastman, it wasn't, and they got whatever folded into the University of Rochester at some point while I was in school there. But I wish I had taken more classes. You know, broadened my horizons a little bit. I don't know with what necessarily, but yeah, I just kind of jumped kind of too far forward too fast, I think would be my answer. So hopefully that's helpful to you, man. Like, I wish I had played in trombone choir longer. I kind of was like, I don't want to do that. And now I wish I would have done it more, you know, for longer. It's just like, I don't have time for that, you know, and I was like, oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And so, yeah, I just wish maybe that I would have been a little bit more attentive to those things, because it would have just been a more deep experience, I guess. I know. But I mean, I did my freshman year and we did a bunch of things. We went to American Trombone Workshop and performed that year. We did like a little tour of DC and played at a bunch of places, and Penn State. We went to Penn State. Did a bunch of things. I just wish I had kept on going. But at the time, I was like, I don't want to do this. I was kind of whiny. I didn't want to play my big horn. I was like, I can't switch horns. I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. I bet Mark remembers one fateful lesson where I just decided I wasn't going to play my large bore horn anymore. I was like, I'm just going to play everything on the small horn. And he was very gracious and just said, okay. But, yeah, I guess I was being kind of a diva. I don't know. But I had one singular goal, which was to get to New York and to get into Juilliard and do my master's there. And like I thought that was like the ticket to something, you know, whatever. Fame and fortune, I suppose, is something like that. But then I remembered that I played trombone. So anyway, so hopefully that helps you, Alex. I mean, I'm sure you're having a great experience, and there's a lot of work, you know, that you got to do while you're there, and a lot of things that maybe you don't know why you have to do them, but they are useful in the long run. And you'll hear me and many other people say the same thing, but you just kind of have to go through it on your own. I think the same thing about, you know, like the cost of college and things like that. Like, you don't have any context for like what those dollars mean later, or like how much things pay, or like how you would, you know, pay off those loans and things like that. Like, you just don't have any context. It's just like a number. It's like, oh, well, I'll just make money and pay it off or whatever. And so, yeah, if I could go back, I might make different decisions in terms of how I managed my time and money. But it is what it is now. So, you know, we move on, we move forward, and do the best we can. So, all right. If there's no other questions, I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back next week. We're getting close. I know I keep saying this, but I actually saw the numbers. This is, I think, number 98 or 99. So we're going to kind of do 100 around this new book, Create, Connect, Repeat. Kind of focus the Q&A around topics in music business around that April 5th, because that's a Tuesday coming up in just a few weeks. So if this is 98, then 99 will be next week, and that's what day? That's the 15th. So 100, maybe it'll be 101 or 102. I don't know, something like that. And I'm pretty sure I accidentally doubled up on some of the numbers, so what are you going to do? If you didn't know, these episodes get released on also every week as podcast. So if you want to look for these things as a podcast, if you can't sit here and listen live every week, but you want to catch what's happening, just check that out. Just search Nick Finzer Audio Experience, and you can find that. These Q&As, and kind of some of the other YouTube videos that I do, educational, performance-wise. Sometimes it's just music. Sometimes it's talking about technique or talking about jazz vocabulary or something, or a master class, different things. But if you want to find those in the interim, you can. And like and subscribe and tell your friends and all of those fun things. But we'll be back next week. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you.